From the John DeVito Broadcast Center, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trzeciak on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Monday, February the 11th, the year 2019. So sit back and enjoy Paranormal Radio. And now here's the number one king of Paranormal Radio, always with a smile on his face, Mr. Bob Trzeciak.
Thank you, John. Now, boy, you're adding more to it now. Now I'm the king of Paranormal Radio with a smile on my face. My king of Paranormal Radio thing is starting to catch on because people are saying, "Oh, king of Paranormal Radio." So it's more of an inside joke. Thank you very much. Thank you all for listening in and tuning in with us. Boy, this nice snowy winter evening again, one of which we've had many of this year. Right about the time we started, maybe about an hour before we started doing the show, we taped the shows on Monday night at 7 o'clock. That's when everything started coming down. So we're in for a little bit of a winter storm tonight. Nothing too serious, I hope. Everybody just please, drive careful, be safe, that kind of thing like that. And also, too, we got some stuff coming up again on the weekend, later on this week. So everybody just be careful with that. Take your time driving and watch where you're walking so you don't slip and have any accidents. And everybody stay safe and warm and healthy and wonderful. And we'll all get through the winter together. Tonight, I'm very excited. We have some newcomers to Paranormal Radio. We have the West Suburban Paranormal Team, consisting of Miss Audra Y. Zurich. I did it right.
Yes.
Nancy Booker and Mr. Ken Edmonds. Thank you all for coming on. Before we start chit-chatting here, though, I just want to do a couple of announcements. First and foremost, about Mr. Jack Red Ryan. John Red Ryan, Jack Ryan, we call him. Jack does a couple of shows here. He's on Meet the Chicago Historians. He also does Chicago Junction, all about Chicago railroading and Chicago history and that. And Jack has been out of commission for a while. He had a stroke. He had some surgery done for hip surgery. And then after that, last time I talked to him was here in the station, which was in December, I believe. And he called the station. I talked to him here, and he was doing fine. Everything was wonderful. And the next day, he wound up having a stroke. And he's been in the rehab with that ever since. But now he is doing good. Actually, last week, through another friend, Charlie Johnson, went to visit him. And from the home, he put him on the phone. And Jack is talking now. He's doing good. So he's recuperating. He's getting better. So we're all wishing him well. And thank you all, everybody, for praying for Jack. And wish him the best and good health and get well. And
I just talked to him yesterday. Radio. I just talked to him yesterday, Bob.
Did you call him or did
No, he called me.
Oh, he called you.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now he's using the phone too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last week, when I talked to him, Charlie Johnson, a mutual friend of all of ours, Charlie called. He was there, and I guess he dialed it for him, or and Jack talked and got to talk to him. He sounds really good. For a while, he couldn't even talk, so that's wonderful. So he's coming along. He's doing well. So we just want him to get well and come back to do radio and visit with his grandchildren, all that other fun stuff that he's been doing, and get well, Jack. We'll see you, Red. We always call him Red. So he's got like a couple names, John, Jack, and Red. We call him. Just get well. Come back to us and stay well. Okay, something for me. I'm saying the March 7th event because I'm not quite certain when we'll do. We do these shows once a month, and depending on the guest schedule and who we get scheduled to do the show, and that we don't know exactly what Monday night we're going to be doing them. So just to announce it in case I don't get a chance to announce it in March, because it's going to be early in March, March 7th, I'm doing a talk over at the Justice Library, Justice Public Library, right over there in Resurrection Mary Country, right over there on Archer Road. And it's going to be about frauds, phonies, and hoaxes in the paranormal. Something I wanted to do for a while, because I think there's a lot of this stuff going on around there, and nothing that I'm doing to slam anybody in particular or anything like that, nothing like that at all, but just some things that I wanted to point out about some things that I see kind of going on in the paranormal industry, and just doing a program that a lot of historic stuff, too, that has happened in the past, too. If you know me, I'm a history nut, so be doing that. That will be at 7 o'clock at the Justice Library. I don't know their phone number, but you can just punch it up on your computer, Justice Public Library, and hit their website. It comes up, and then it'll tell you what time the programs are and everything that'll be there. Some tours and things I've got going on with the Elsa Park. That's going to be later on, though, in the spring and that. And then Chuck's Southern Comforts Restaurant over on 79th in Natchez. And I finally got corrected on this after I've been saying it all this time. I would say it's on 79th and Natchez, right across from the Burbank Police Station. It's not the Burbank Police Station. It's the Burbank Fire Department. So it's on 79th and Natchez in Burbank, right across from the Burbank Fire Department. And I will be there for Mardi Gras, and I'll be doing palm readings there with them. And they have a good time there. They have a special food menu that they put out, all kind of New Orleans. They have all year round really good New Orleans-based food in there. But then for the Mardi Gras, they put a special menu on. And they're actually doing this on the Saturday before Fat Tuesday. And then they will be doing something for Fat Tuesday, too. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be there the Saturday and the Tuesday, or if I'll be there the one or the other. Probably the Saturday, I imagine, would be the busier night. So I'll probably be there on the Saturday. So we'll be doing that and having some fun with that. Okay, let's get down to Paranormal Radio. Audra, Nancy, Ken, welcome. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you for having us.
You've driven a little bit of a distance. We're out here in Norwich where you do the show at. They came from Aurora. Now all you live in Aurora?
Right. Yes.
Okay, did y'all come together?
Mm-hmm.
Good, perfect.
Yep.
That way you only have one car to wreck on the ice out there. So
Exactly.
now everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. I've got a little bit of distance to go too because I come from Elsip, so I've got like about an hour ride back myself. So yeah, so that's how it goes. Thank you all for coming. Yeah, really, especially on a night like this. You're with the West Suburban Paranormal Research Team, right?
Yeah, we're called West Suburban Paranormal Investigations.
Okay.
Started about a year and 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay, so relatively new, but of course you've been doing paranormal long before you started the group.
Right.
And then decided to form the group and that.
We started together. We were on a different team together.
Okay.
And we worked so well together that we thought, we need to
do our
see
own
what
team.
we can do. Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah. Happens all the time with these groups. Sometimes the group gets a little too big, and sometimes there's a little discrepancy going on in the group, or whatever. So people break off and form new groups, and that's great.
Right.
Not that we want to see people forming new groups because there's something going on with somebody else in the group that's there.
Right.
But it's nice to have more groups and more people into it.
And
so
we
it's good.
realized quick that we worked well together.
Yeah,
And-
that makes
and
all
we wanted to
the
make
difference.
Sure that going off on our own, that we could set the guidelines and work together all the time. So it's
Good.
really worked
Yeah.
out well for us.
Yeah.
That's nice. You like to do your own thing without anybody else's rules and regulations and under their things and that. Yeah.
Right.
Some of the teams actually even make you sign like waivers and things when you join a team. Like if you take any photographic evidence, any EVP, any recording evidence, or it actually belongs to them.
Yeah, we
It's
do
not
have
yours,
that
so-
too. We have a
yeah,
contract
so-
like
yeah,
that too.
Yeah, see, they all kind of do that now, so that's how that works.
We tell them that we're not going to use the clients. We're not going to use your face. We're not going to use your name
Or your address.
or your address.
Mhm.
But it does belong to us. We may put it up on our page. No one will ever be able to know where it's coming from. But
Okay.
if it's something, it belongs to us.
Some people are a little more private about this. Some people are a little more open about it. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter to them, but some people are a little more private about it. Many people that I know that are in paranormal actually have like 2 Facebook pages. They have their regular Facebook page, and then they have their paranormal Facebook page because they don't want anybody knowing what they're doing. And my feeling is, well, my gosh, if you're that embarrassed or that concerned about hiding what you're doing, maybe you shouldn't be doing
Why
it.
are you doing it?
What are
Yeah.
you doing that's so terrible that you want people to know you're doing it?
Right.
So yeah, eventually when this all gets recognized as an actually accredited science and college courses are taught in this and it's certified by the state of Illinois and everything, then it'll be fine.
Right.
We won't have any trouble with it. But right now, some people are a little more secretive about it. And then some people, too, I can understand. They say, no, because of their employment or that they don't want their employers to know they're doing this. But there again, I'm like, what do you got to be embarrassed about?
No, and
Nothing.
it's funny, when you mention to somebody that you do this, and then all of a sudden they're on board and they, I believe in that, and this happened at my house, and
Yeah. That was going to be
Yeah.
my next question. I'll start with you since you brought it up, Ken. What led you into the paranormal?
I never was on a team early. I was told growing up that my aunt and my grandmother were sensitives. And,
Okay.
And my aunt supposedly had a house in Crete, Illinois, and it was haunted. They had a small child, and it was an older gentleman that wouldn't identify himself. They assumed that was my grandfather, though that's what they thought. But I'd been there, and I hadn't experienced anything while I was there. But it always fascinated me hearing the stories going through. Just been into it. A couple of friends had kids that were into it, so we started taking them on little cemeteries and some of the paid ghost hunts that we could go on.
Sure, okay. Mhm.
And when I saw an ad in Aurora for a team, I thought, well, I'll give this place
Oh, they
a
actually
call.
put an ad for a team.
He put it on. He put it on Facebook, and
Oh.
I saw it, and I said, well, I'm gonna give him a call, and I went, and I went to the first investigation. I met these two, and we kind of melded right from the start. So, and it just, excuse me, it went from there.
So for you, it was more of an interest, a curiosity, wanting to know more about it, not really having experience.
No,
Okay.
and I really wasn't. I was on the fence whether okay, I've heard a lot of the stories, and I've seen the TV shows, and is there something to it? I want to experience it myself before I
Yeah,
make.
okay.
And after the first couple of investigations I went on, and some of the stuff I experienced, it was like, yeah, okay, this is for me. There's definitely something to this, and as we keep going this year and a half that we've been doing it, it just never ceases to amaze. So.
Good. That's good to hear. Yeah, good. I'm glad to do that. We always room for new researchers and new people with different methods, different ways of doing things and that. And wonderful. Nancy, what about you? What brought you into the paranormal?
I've always had a love for horror and ghosts and all of that, even from being a little girl. And then as I grew up, I started doing the paid investigations. And then, like Ken, I saw an ad for that team in Aurora.
Okay.
And I was the first one of the 3 of us to join that. And but once they came on, that's all it took. Once I got my first real feel of paranormal, like like evidence that I knew it was real, I was hooked.
Okay, good.
And I think I'll do it for the rest of my life.
So now there again, you didn't have any evidence, so to speak, until you joined the team. So nothing
Right.
personally happened to you beforehand. Or see,
No,
with me it was
just
a little
a-
different.
just
I
a
had
love
stuff,
for it.
I had stuff happen and that kind of thing like that, and then same thing too, an interest in it. Yeah. And Audra, what about you? What's your reason for?
Mine is totally opposite. I had the sensitive
You had experiences. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
So you're the sensitive of the group. Okay.
I think I am, yeah.
Okay.
It happened in the form of my animals when they passed over. They came by to
okay.
say goodbye to me.
Okay.
It was very clear and it was obvious that it wasn't something that I was just making up trying to make myself feel better.
So you
it
actually
was
saw the
obvious.
animals, just heard them, felt their presence, that type of thing
Heard
like
them,
that?
felt their presence. Within the past year and a half, I've become way more open. I can see the animals now, and even my husband and my mom have seen our animals that have passed in the
okay.
house. And we go to different houses, and I can now see their animals that have passed over.
I've heard it said that when you die and you go to the next realm, to heaven or wherever it is that you believe, whatever your belief takes you to go into the next realm, that's one of the first things you see are your pets. That's what they say. Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not.
I hope so.
I won't know until I get there. But
Right.
you know,
I would
so-
like it. I would love
yeah.
to see them again.
But I have always said this for many, many years. I says animals and children have this extra sense with the paranormal. They can pick up on things right away.
Right.
How many people I've spoken with that say they have some activity in their house, in their establishment, whatever, and they say, yeah, the dog will sit and stare at a corner
Right.
or at a staircase or something. I said, well, there's something going on there. There's something he's seeing, you're not.
Right.
He's feeling something, you're not. They're a little more in tune with it.
We have
Children
so many
do the same
clients
things. Yeah.
that do the
and
same
that's
thing with the
actually what
kids.
happened Saturday night.
Yeah.
We had the little 3-year-old that was there was seeing a man upstairs.
So now you were conducting an investigation?
Yes.
Right.
And the 3-year-old was there present when
Yes.
you were doing the
Yes.
investigation?
You would like
I
to have the
don't know. Do you
homeowners
think?
there.
Yeah, the homeowners. But I don't. Do you think? I mean, I'm not knocking it. But do you think that's appropriate to have a
we
child
give
that
that
young?
no but
Yeah.
Well,
with
she
the-
wasn't part of the investigation, but her parents were there at the house. So
Okay.
Yeah, no, that we
Yeah.
try to keep the kids out, but sometimes the parents let them run around. But they told us that
So-
she
but
was
the child
seeing-
was present. She was in the house, and or
Yeah.
she or
Was
he,
in
whatever.
the house,
Okay.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
but
Okay.
not when we were upstairs. But she was seeing an older man, and she was scared of him. And
and that's why the parents had gotten a hold of us to have us come.
Okay.
And
So-
after we left, they actually had even
well,
more
I think we
experiences.
determined it was her husband, the homeowner's husband's father. that
Okay.
was back. He had passed in June last year, and this is when this all started happening. And the granddaughter had not ever met the grandfather because he was from.
So she
far
wouldn't have
away.
known who she
wouldn't have
was.
known
Right.
who she was
Okay,
looking
all right,
at.
okay.
And I saw, and actually I work with this girl, and I saw her this morning, and I said, I said I forgot to tell her that sometimes after we leave, things pick up because. they
Now, when
do-
you're saying the girl, the 3-year-old?
no, the mother.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't want to use names in that. So
Yeah. No. Of course not.
And she
I understand that
she
client
said, "Oh,"
confidentiality,
I
yeah.
said, "Did anything happen after we left?" And she called me a few names, and she said, "Oh boy, the girl went upstairs. It was time to go to bed. She saw the man. She wouldn't even go upstairs anymore. My other daughter was feeling somebody touching her, and she's, my husband wants you back. You guys got to come back."
How old's the other daughter?
19.
Probably.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
Also, a big difference in ages here, like a 19-year-old and a
She's
3-year-old.
She was
Yeah.
one that was
Okay.
experiencing a lot of the shower coming on, hearing the voices. The mother heard the voices.
Okay. all right,
Lights
yeah.
flickering.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've had activity there.
Yeah.
A lot of times with younger children, parents kind of blow it off. Oh, that's like their, how kids make up that imaginary friend
Right.
type thing, that kind of thing like that. And then sometimes they realize, hey, there's something a little more to this than just a child making up a story here.
Or is
yeah.
the imaginary friend a past relative or a past ghost that's in the house?
Yeah. Or is it just an imaginary friend?
Right.
That's where investigations come in. Yeah.
Right. Going back to the animals, we had done an investigation and got a real good picture. I don't know who took that
I
picture.
took-
Nancy
I
did.
took-
Nancy took
Nancy
a
took
picture and just random. Nancy's really good with taking just random photos and getting all kinds of. And it was, you could see it's clear as a bell. It's like a Rottweiler out on the deck, but you can see, all you see is the head and the rear legs. You see through it.
Okay.
And the
Oh,
homeowner
great.
said,
And they
well,
had no
No,
dog.
they had no dog. But she said, my cat, it just will roll over on his
Okay,
back.
so where's the photo?
Didn't bring it.
I
It's
can
radio.
I think you could probably get it off of your phone.
You could probably put it
okay.
up on your phone.
Oh,
should
yeah, if you can do it, I'd
that,
love to see it. Yeah. Of course, we can't see it on radio here, but
Yeah.
I'd love to see it myself. Yeah.
We can describe it. It's a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had an investigation.
It sounds
where
like the classic example of a ghost photograph. Yeah.
most of the time when Ken does all of our reports for us, and he's amazing at doing it, but whenever I see an animal, it usually doesn't go in the report because we can't justify it with any machinery. Or any.
Now,
that's-
what do you mean by that?
Well, it's not something we can pick up on the recorder. I can sit there and say, yeah, I
They
see
make
the dog
sounds.
over there.
They do, but we haven't
picked up any
any
sounds yet.
sounds.
You know, I'm not able to go on.
Oh, okay, okay, we
other than
can't get
that.
it then. Okay, well, that's all right. We'll see it the next time. Yeah.
And we walked into this house, and there was this ginormous German Shepherd. The thing had to have been about 3.5 feet
Oh, it was
tall.
a Mastiff, yeah.
It was huge. And he would sit in the corner, and he would jump on people when they would come in. And this was a dog that I saw. He was deceased. He
Okay.
was there from a previous owner who would guard the house.
Okay.
And I said to the owner, do you ever have, like, when you walk in the house, you feel as if you're getting pushed back outside the door? And he says, no, I haven't. I said, you've got this huge dog right here. And this was one time it actually did go in the report because both Ken and our other investigator, Owen, got home, and their dogs were reacting so erratically towards them, jumping on them
Oh,
and
smelling. Yeah.
to the
That's
point
to
of
see,
where they were
animals have that
pushing
extra
them.
sense. They do. Yeah, they've got that. Yeah.
That it was the first time it got into it, my actual sighting of a dead animal went into a report. That was very good. That was cool.
Yeah, we. What I'll do is I'll put together a written report with all the what we did in each room, what we left, any transcripts of any recordings that we have, and I'll include a flash drive with recordings and audio, video, that kind of thing. And we just we'll present it to the client, and then it's yours to keep. Do with it what you want. And, and they really appreciate that, I think. And then they show it off to all the relatives. Look,
In addition to some of the other many ghosts that haunt the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, there's a black cat that haunts one of the sub basements down in one of the lower levels in the house. And supposedly, when that cat makes its presence seen and they know it's there, nation's in some kind of conflict, some kind of trouble, something happens.
Really?
Yeah.
That's-
Last time he popped around was September 11th. after
Wow.
all that,
wow.
yeah.
Nice.
And so they said they kind of knew something was going to
Oh,
happen
boy.
because the cat showed
You
up.
know something,
so-
but you don't know
yeah,
what.
Yeah, you don't know what it is. Okay,
Oh, that's the dog.
I got to see. I'm looking
she
at
found the
the
dog.
picture
Turn the
here.
wireless off and it worked.
And she found the dog.
Okay. Oh, no, I definitely see the front.
Don't you see it?
I see the white paws even on the feet.
And in their back
I,
part.
I see like white paws, like a dark fur white paws, and I can see the head.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And it is sort of the front is very clear. Well, not really, really clear, but it's clear enough you can make out what it is. It's actually one of the better ones I've seen. And then the middle and the whole thing just faded away now. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
But yeah, when we put it up on the big screen and it's
But you can definitely see.
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
They did not have a
very
dog,
often too with
so-
human apparitions. Sometimes too, that's when people say, "Huh, we're seeing something here that we can't explain," because you see half of the image.
Yes.
Usually they'll see like the upper torso, and they don't see any feet or any legs or anything on the image. And sometimes you see the whole full image, but sometimes they see just partial.
Right.
Yeah. Or some of it is very clear and good, and then the rest of it is sort of transparent and misty looking, that type of thing. So yeah, something to it. Okay. So now this, I'm guessing from what you said, this was a private investigation for a private home.
Right.
Is that mostly what you do? Is like private investigations? that
yeah,
type of thing
people
like that you
contact
did?
us. Some businesses, we do businesses.
all right.
We've been to a couple of. Let's see.
Restaurants.
Yeah.
I've got one for you.
Bars.
I got one. I've had you guys
Oddity
in mind
shop.
when I talk to you. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
I
Sounds
got
good.
one. Yeah.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
We read actually, there's a book, Haunted Aurora.
Okay.
It was published, and there's a.
Was that a Troy Taylor novel or?
I don't think.
I
it
don't
was
think
Troy.
so.
Okay.
No, but we actually got to go into one of those places, and it was different. We didn't get a lot upstairs, but going back and listening to the recordings. and
Where?
Eldred?
No,
the one in Aurora.
Oh, the one in Aurora.
yeah,
The
down in
shelter.
the basement. Quiet. We sat down there.
So what's
But
haunted
you
in
could-
Aurora?
You could hear a guitar strumming down in the basement,
okay.
and they told us, well, that's where. Back in the early 1900s, 1800s, that's where the help used to live down in there.
Okay.
And they would do that kind
Sure,
of thing.
mhm.
We didn't know, but it was we had a few things that happened over there. I mean, it seems like we get called to a house or a business, chances are we're going to find something because they're experiencing something.
Sure.
So,
Mhm.
they get a little upset if we don't find, well, we didn't get anything. Maybe
No,
it's
no, you have to,
because the-
It is
see,
what it is.
exactly. That's it. You always got to make that clear to
Yeah.
people. Sometimes it's the wrong atmospheric conditions, the wrong
Yes.
person, just not the right time. Maybe they just don't want to manifest themselves. Whatever, any one of a
and
thousand
that's
reasons.
right.
Sometimes, boom, you're spot on. You hit it, and okay, it doesn't. You can't just conjure these things up all the
No.
time like that.
Right.
Sometimes they just don't want to.
No, and people ask us, well, do you want us out of the house? Do we want? No, you know what? If the spirits are there with you, they're comfortable with you. We'd rather keep you there because they don't know us.
Makes sense.
And if we just walk in and you walk out, they're not gonna give us any indication that they're
Makes
there.
sense.
And,
Yeah.
and it really has worked out.
Yeah.
For
It
us
always
that
helps a
way.
lot to do some research on the property too, to know like former owners as much as you can find out. Like
We
this, you
do.
said you knew that there were servants down there, that type of thing. With servants' quarters down there, they would sit there for amusement. They would strum on their guitars, that type of thing like that. So it's always nice to know some of the history, the background of it. It's nice to know that after you've investigated it. I myself doing an investigation, I prefer to go in cold turkey, not knowing about
Right.
it. When you know about it, it seems you already have this planted in your
Something set,
mind.
yes.
Yeah,
Right.
set. And I'd rather not know. And then when something, if indeed something does happen, you say, okay, this is what we got. Is this
Right.
verifying, backing up what you've seen or what's
And
been
we'll do
happening?
that with the clients also. We don't tell us names of who you think
Mm-hmm.
this relative. We'll come up if it comes through. Names come through. We'll let you know what
Mm-hmm.
we find because we don't want you putting that in my head first of all, and then I'm
Right.
hearing that.
Yeah.
On
That's
a,
what I feel.
on a spirit box or
So
something.
Audrey, you're the medium of the group, right?
I would say I'm probably the most sensitive at this point.
Okay, yeah, all right, good.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah,
But we
it's-
actually had at the pizzeria that we had gone to, we went there twice, and it almost seems like we get more evidence after we go there a second time. They're more comfortable with us or something. They realize we're not trying to get rid of them.
Right.
Possibly. Possibly you're more familiar with them. They're more comfortable with you, more familiar
Right.
with you. So, yeah. Mhm.
And we actually had gotten a name off of, was the Ovilus or was it off
No,
the
it was
audio
it was the spirit box or the
Was it
what do you call it,
spirit
Echovox or whatever.
And we
but-
ended up talking to the guy who owns the place now, and he's like, that we've got a historian here. And he went and he talked to this girl who came back and said that there was someone by that name who actually used to work in that place when it was
See, that's always
a
nice when you
tailor
get the
or something like
verification.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
nice.
So
one,
that was
well, one
kinda
of his
neat.
waitresses knew that girl too, and said that she had passed and that she had worked there, and it's like, okay,
okay.
this is after the fact, but and it was funny because we were using this spirit box, and we were up in the kitchen area, and the word couch came up once or twice, and I didn't know what that meant. None of us did until the owner said, "Well, there's a couch in the basement." Well, once we got down to the basement and started setting up around a couch, boy, did we get just a plethora of activity down there with the proximity meters. With
Kitchens, bathrooms, basements. Those
That
seem to
seems to
be,
be it.
yeah, kitchens, bathrooms. Kitchens and bathrooms, I have a theory, I think, of water. Water acts sort of as a conduit. And in kitchen, you have sinks, you have water. Bathrooms, again, you have sinks, you have toilets, you have water. Kind of a conduit. Basements, I think they're just creepy. And that's it.
I love basements.
Yeah,
and
I think that's just it. With especially
we had
an
a
older
thought with
home,
that.
an old deep basement, almost like a cellar type
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
But
down
we
it.
were thinking about that too, and I thought, why basements? Well, basement. It's a place for that spirit to get away. That's their area. I can come down here and this is mine.
Sometimes too, the basement in older homes, sometimes the basement is like the only part of the house that has
That's
not been
r-
changed over
That's
the
still
years.
the
true.
same,
That's
right?
true,
Yeah,
too.
sometimes over the years the house has been remodeled and things have been done to it, redecorating, and the basement is pretty close. It's just a basement. Forget it. Maybe
Right.
we'll go down and give it a coat of paint every now and again or something. That's about it. So a lot of times, basement is left pretty much intact as it was when the structure was there. So yeah.
Yeah.
A
Well,
lot
we
of the
left-
older homes have that old rock and everything down there. You can just see the age.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was a house we were at where there was a brick. It actually had the year on it that was
like
the late
18
1800s.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was
cool.
really neat.
That's one you want to keep. Yeah, that's a keeper.
We went
yeah.
to Eldred, Illinois. There's
Eldred?
the Eldred. There's
never
the
heard of
Eldred
Eldred.
house.
Down
Where-
south.
Where is Eldred,
Down by
Illinois?
It's Central
Alton.
Illinois, down by Alton area.
Oh, Alton.
where all
Okay,
that
that's in Troy Taylor country.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was
We,
one of his
yeah.
investigations.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, does he do investigations now? He did
He-
it
he
before.
does tours,
I know.
yeah,
I
he
know.
does
he does
those.
tours.
He wasn't there.
No.
Okay, 'cause
It was,
yeah.
But
it
it's-
was
it's
definitely
under
one of
his
I know
the.
he. I know he does. He authors a lot of books. I know that, but I wasn't aware that he did investigations and that kind of stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
all right,
No, we went there and we paid for it. And there was a bunch of people there because they paid for the tour, and a lot of them have experience. Some of them
there and
didn't. It was
show
just a
them.
whim. And we were looking at the cellar, the basement from outside, and it's dark. And we
That's
started
all
to go
from
down,
there.
and they said, "Well, no, come out of there. Once we start, we'll." And one of the other groups says, "You guys really want to go down there? Of course we do."
You're going to see.
Okay, I'm kind of looking at it. He stopped here for just
That's
a
all
second.
right.
Nancy's showing me another photo here, and what am I looking? Okay, I see an orb.
Yep.
Okay.
That out in the backyard.
This is the backyard of the Eldridge.
Yep, an Eldred house, yeah.
Eldred or Eldridge?
Eldred.
Eldred.
Okay,
Yep.
what is that?
This is the house.
Ah,
This is
looks
the
like
house.
looks
They-
like a row house.
They've remodeled it.
Okay.
It was originally 20-something rooms with a huge carriage house attached to it.
Oh, so it was just a private one whole residence. Okay,
This
okay.
was up in the attic in one of the windows.
Okay, all right.
And that's actually the attic. And you guys can tell them what you felt up in that attic.
This is the attic. That's the window that would be the front of the house on the outside that you would see.
Right.
Okay. Looks like a church window.
It's actually, if you could blow it up, there was something in that window that.
That's the same thing. Now,
Yeah,
was the
I
photo
showed
you
you.
showed me, was that the photo that I just seen here, or was that from the outside that you took, the one that I seen?
It's one that I blew up.
Is it from this, though,
Yeah.
from the inside, or did
That's
that
from
come
the
from...
inside.
It's from the inside.
Oh, so whatever it is on the outside of that
Right.
window.
He took
Right.
this picture,
That's odd. Usually it's the other way around. Usually on the
Right.
outside of the building, taking the photo, and you see it on the inside.
Right.
and
Right.
then we blew it up.
That attic was strange to begin with.
Aren't they
It
all?
was, yeah.
And again, it's one of those, we're not going
Yeah.
to tell you what we have here. We want you guys to go in and investigate, and you tell us, and if there's anything to it, we'll show you. So we went up in the attic. Here
That's
she
how
goes
it used
again.
to look.
Okay.
I'm sorry. And then they redid it. So
Okay.
when we went, it was in much better shape.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. Old place. How far back does that house go?
I don't know. Do you?
It was before electricity because they
Yeah.
had just piped electricity in.
Okay.
And they had an outhouse in the back, so
All right, so
in mid 18.
it's got its history, yeah. So it's an old place, yeah.
Right.
Mhm, yeah.
Definitely.
But we had gone up in the attic, and it's totally dark with no flashlight, and I had a feeling like I was like spinning in a circle, and I didn't know how to. I said, I got this feeling. It's not dizzy.
Like a vertigo.
I feel like, and Audra, I hear her from behind me say, "You feel like you're spinning?" And I said, "Yeah." And I turned on my flashlight. She was leaning against the wall trying to keep her balance, and it subsided after a couple of minutes. And when we went downstairs to talk to the caretaker, we told her, we got this spinning, and she said the same word, vertigo, and smiled and showed us in the book there are a bunch of people that had that same feeling up there. And she said that Alma, the 4-year-old that died of tuberculosis in the house, that attic was her play place or
Sure.
ballroom. She used to have dances up there. So the spinning back in the 1800s, the way
Okay.
they danced, that's what we were feeling, I
Yeah.
think. And that was kind of, that's another one of those, hey, I'm here for life, I'm doing
Possible could be
this.
just a vortex, too.
Could be.
Who
It could
knows?
be.
Yeah, you just don't know, yeah.
Yeah, but it was.
Yeah.
It
So you
was
do more
definitely-
research, do more investigating over there and see what else happens, Sometimes second time, third time around.
Yeah, if it
fourth
wasn't
time
so far
around.
away, we went back right
Yeah,
away.
Yeah.
that's the trouble. A lot of times locations are just not convenient.
Well, they
Right.
told us about
Like
the Indian that they would see running along the brick wall and disappear because it was over burial grounds. And I think halfway through the night, I went outside. I said, I'm going to wait for the Indian. I want to tackle him when he comes out.
I think all of Archer Avenue is haunted because of
Yeah.
Indian burial
Oh,
grounds
yeah.
and Indian trails
Oh, yeah.
and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
But, we do some of those. We're going to go out to
Waverly Hills.
Waverly Hills.
Oh,
this
yeah,
spring.
Waverly. Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah.
I've never been there. I thought that'd be a great thing for us to do. We've been to, what is that, Lake County, Indiana jail. That's one of the paid ones we went to. That was kind of neat. But most of our stuff is.
This seems to be
people
the
that call
trend now
us.
with paranormal. They're buying these places and then they rent them out to people. And I'm like, I'm not 100% behind this. I don't really like this. Everybody wants to make some money, and I'm no exception either. I like to give a tour and give a talk, and I get paid for it, of course. Naturally, everybody likes to get something out of this. I'm no different than anybody else. But to just go buy these old warehouses and old schools and then rent them out to people and actually haunt them. Actually, they create haunts.
Right.
Sometimes there's nothing. Just because the building is old and it's
Right.
creepy
Right.
doesn't mean it's haunted.
Right.
It doesn't. I don't know.
No, and that's why we're so happy that we're always busy with private residential and
And then if
business.
it's something that you're trying to do for the sake of science, for the science of the paranormal, that's why I say eventually I'd like to see this be a accredited business and an accredited science, I should say, really. It's like you're putting walls up on this without allowing people to go in and research freely, But then, of course, we all know how that works. This is our private little thing here, and we don't want to share it with anybody,
Right.
And everyone has their own judgment
Yeah,
about
yeah.
all the things. One person, you could sit there for an hour and talk to somebody about orbs and come out with you still being a believer and that person still not being a believer.
Orbs are probably one of the most common things, and they're also probably one of the easiest to disprove. Yeah, a lot of times they fool even the most experienced people. They do. Yeah, they're easy
and
to
we
do.
pretty
Yeah.
much discount them most of the time.
Most
and-
Yeah, they
Most
do.
of the
Yeah.
time.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
The Ghost Research Society won't even take. They said don't even send pictures of orbs anymore. They have so many of them. They just don't even bother. Not that some of them aren't legitimate, but they just stop because how many little white balls and blue balls do you need to be looking
Right.
at? Yeah.
Well, and if they're not going to tell you
And black in some cases.
the
Yeah.
background of when the picture was taken, was it raining outside, was it misting, was there anything? If you're just going to send a picture in, you could see an orb and it could be a raindrop and you have no idea.
Or
That's
dust.
exactly it.
Dust.
Yeah, dust. Yeah, they're kind of easy to debunk. Yeah.
Well, that's why
Anybody's-
I'm glad you do this radio. You know, you're promoting the field, and that's great.
Oh, yeah.
It's just amazing.
That's the idea. We like to give people a chance to come on, say what they want to say. You know, if we give what they've. I've never really had anybody come on this show where we've had to censor them or anything or that kind of thing like that. Nothing. You know, that anybody said that was offensive to anybody else. Nothing like that. You know.
Yeah.
People
No,
pretty
we
much
try
let
to
free.
promote it too. We did
Yeah.
we got actually called to do a talk at a garden club in the
Okay.
area, and didn't know, never did that before. We
Oh,
had
yeah.
no idea what we're getting. You talk about being nervous, but we brought
And
our
of course, it was a
equipment.
sellout. You had 150
It was
people.
great.
No,
It was
no,
awesome.
no,
Oh
no.
yeah, it was
It always
great.
is. Whenever you do something with the paranormal, it goes.
But there was a lot of
it packs
people,
them
and
in.
it got
Yeah.
but the lady got up and she introduced us, and she says they're here to she said 2-hour talk. Well, I'd only heard an hour, so we really only had enough stuff for an hour, but we
Oh,
ended up
no.
we could have went 3.
We did fine.
Yeah,
We
no,
really
yeah,
could have
it
went through.
goes,
Once
yeah.
they start questions and
yeah, once-
answers.
I always leave a little time.
But
Whenever I
she
do one, I always leave some time
she
for
announced
questions,
us,
yeah.
and she said they're here to talk about ghosts in the garden. I said, no, we're not. We're here. It's the first time hearing of this.
Yeah.
We got ghosts in the garden probably, but we're here to tell you about the paranormal and the difference between a paranormal investigator and a ghost hunter. And
Yeah. Mhm.
and it worked out well. We had a lot of question and answer. There was one lady that
Okay,
was
what
a
is the difference
stern
between a paranormal investigator and a ghost hunter?
a ghost hunter, from my understanding and my research, a ghost hunter is a person that goes to the places that are known to be haunted, like these paid hunts. They go to the Waverly. They go there. A paranormal investigator is a person that gets a call from somebody that suspects that they may have a haunting or a spirit, and then we go in, investigate, and try to either prove they do or they don't, and gather information for them.
Okay, so the difference being one is a known haunt, one is a not
One is
so well known,
or
not known at all.
Not known at all.
Okay,
Just a
all right.
hunch from the person. That
Okay, I've
wants
never
us
heard
to-
it quite defined that way. I always thought they were like one and the same. You know, you're a ghost hunter and paranormal investigator. You're kind of the same type of thing. Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. We do both. whatever,
Yeah, well,
whatever,
yeah.
whatever comes up.
Yeah. Mhm.
If we're on
When
a
you
slow
investigate
period,
the paranormal, you're hunting
and,
ghosts.
we really enjoy doing it. So if we don't have any clients lined up for a month, we'll go do a couple of these
Exactly.
other ones.
You know, that's what it's all
interesting.
about. It's about doing it because you enjoy it. It's something you like to do. It's something that you're passionate about. You know, that's it. You know.
And
Yeah.
my wife hasn't shot me yet for spending all the money on the equipment that I have.
Oh,
so.
you're another one of those too. Yeah, I got a few friends that are in that hole with that. Yeah, they're having that trouble. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's you got a novelist? I want one of those. You know, it's
Myself, maybe I'm still, back in the last century with this, but myself, I prefer, that's why I asked you about a medium. I prefer working with a good medium much more than I prefer working with any of the recording machines.
Okay.
Because when I work with a medium, I can get names, I can get sentences, I can get stuff I can understand. I don't hear,
Yeah, right. That gets really hard to listen to.
Ting, ting, walla, walla, bing, bing. I can actually hear, sometimes they're very clear, and then a lot of times too I have trouble, and I say, I've had people even come on this show and that, and not to discredit anybody with that, but they bring these things on and we play them over the air and we listen to it, and they're, oh, there it goes. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? And I'm like, I'm really sorry, but I didn't. Oh, and then they go with this thing. They say, well, you have to have a trained ear for this.
Right.
I'm like, now wait a minute. And then they're going and they're playing them backwards, and I'm like, now come on. When we were kids, we did backward masking with old LPs. I mean,
no, we'll take that, and and if I hear something, I'll play it.
You've got to
for
go
them.
through that to try
Right.
to get an audible verse.
We'll play it
a
for each
sentence out
other,
of
and
this,
if if somebody doesn't hear it, then okay,
just not there,
there.
right.
But if I hear something and I say, okay, I'm going to play this for you, tell me what you hear.
Oh, there.
and
it
all of a
said
sudden,
Joe.
hey,
Oh, it said train. Oh, it said. Well, what does that mean?
no,
Right.
but we're not going to. Yeah, we don't.
See, a medium.
We look
I've done
for-
investigations and I've done things with a medium, and I'm seeing the guy that's right over here, and I'm seeing some blood on this wall here, and there's something going on, and there's a name. It's Doris, and it's this and that, and they're picking up on this stuff. You get a good medium. I much prefer to work with them. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Nothing,
you have to
I'm
do
not-
your homework
I'm not
with that to
putting
make sure
down
you're
this
getting
other
a good
stuff, and
medium.
I'm not putting it down. But like I say, for me, it just seems like it's much more. Man, I can really get some good. And then now they've given me some names. They've given me some events, some things they've seen. I can go back and I can research this and say, did some of this stuff ever happen in this building? What was this before it was this? What was all that, and I can kind of put two and two together and make sense out of some of it.
I really
Yeah.
enjoy using the dowsing rods, so I use them each time we go. I usually do about 2. Any more than that, and I get way too tired, and Ken is getting really good with them now,
Fool
too.
around with the Ouija?
Nope.
I don't either. No.
No, Nancy
I don't like them. I recommend.
would like to try one,
I would like to try
but
it.
I
I
was
haven't had
advised-
any success yet, but
You're probably better off not fooling around with it. Really, enjoy your success with other mediums of
That's my vote.
conjuring. Yeah. Ouija boards are just not good. Yeah, I don't really like to fool around with Ouijas. I've always said that. Yeah, I don't like to do that. Yeah.
I did it once, and I find myself very lucky that nothing happened. We
I
didn't
almost
know how to
bought a
close the
Ouija
door or anything.
last year, or was it the year before? Took a group out to Geneva, Illinois. Did a tour out in Geneva, and there's an antique shop there. And there in the shop was an old Ouija board. And it was reasonable. And I says, I should buy this because when I do my fortune-telling presentation that I have one I can demonstrate. And I says, nah. If I have this thing hanging around in the house, it's going to be too tempting for me to want to start fooling around with it. I prefer not to. I really do. Yeah, I prefer not to do that,
Yeah, that's what I tell Nancy. If you're going to go ahead and do that, let me know. I'm leaving.
Yeah, I know people that have had some bad experiences with Ouijas, yeah. And then the thing is now, too, I'm not alone in this stuff because apparently it's gotten around in the industry, and what they're actually doing now is they're remarketing them. They're putting them in little yellow and pink pastel-colored boxes, and it's now a spirit board.
Right.
It's not an oracle like it was before. It was marketed Ouija with the cloaked figure on the cover of the box and that kind of thing. Now they're doing this, and I'm like, hey, a Ouija is a Ouija. I don't care how you want to dress it up.
I've seen
still
them
a Ouija board.
in the big box stores, and it's in a nice little pink and purple box, and it's geared for kids, girls 7 and up, and you can't mess with that.
I worked for Toys R Us. I worked 24 years for Toys R Us. I didn't get laid off in June. I was already retired from them about 8 years before they closed up all the stores in June last year. But 24 years I worked for Toys R Us, and of course in October I'd see Ouija boards flying out that store, because they'd be just right on the game wall with the Parker Brother board games with Monopoly and Risk and everything else, and people would just buy this. I'm like, you really don't know what you're fooling around here with, got to be a little cautious with them.
Yes, and I like to leave voice recorders around the the house, and it's a lot of listening when you're all done.
Of course,
but that's
videotaping too. Got to go back and look at all the stuff and see what you pick up in that.
But we've caught a lot of good evidence. Our first investigation, we went in and I was talking to the homeowner, and I had it on and down at the side by the kitchen table, and they went for a little tour with the family. Well, later on, I'm listening, you could hear somebody's breathing into it. So when I played it for the homeowner, I said, do you remember this? And he put the headphones on. He said, oh yeah, that's when we were in the kitchen. That's what the hell is that? I said, yeah, that's what we heard too. And it's just, we left one down, that one in the basement. They had a child, they thought there was, because they'd hear their baby crying, and they'd all run to the room in the middle of the night, and the baby would be sound asleep. And then they thought, well, it sounds like an older child. So we were there trying to figure out who that was. Nancy got a real good picture of something down in the basement that looked like it had a wrap around its head. But that was later. But I had left that voice recorder down there, and you could hear us upstairs. We're all in the front room of the house, and we're doing a EVP session. And I asked at one point, are there any adults in the house with us tonight? And, of course, we didn't hear nothing upstairs. But when I played that back in the recorder, and it was clear as day, yes, there are. And
that's good. When you get it clear, you can hear
the
it.
hair comes up on the back of your head, and
now what am I looking at here? Okay,
this is going to be a little tiny white dot. I
take
pictures in black and dark.
Okay.
And then when I blow it up,
some sort of a streak.
It's like and then we blow it up a little bit more. Her grandfather had ended up passing from a brain aneurysm.
Okay.
And with the wrap around this head, so it kind of looks like a head with a wrap.
Half of it.
Yeah.
Half a head.
Like shadowed.
Half a head, like a bandage.
Yep, and that's a darker version, but when you lighten it up, you can kind of make out the eye socket, maybe the cheek area.
Okay, we're stretching it, but I could see, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, no.
If you blow it up,
but you can see.
It's
okay.
real clear once you get that.
From that picture.
So is that blown up?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I take pictures just in the dark.
Good.
Black rooms.
Good, and then what comes up comes up. Good.
I would say 95% of what we get is off of audio recorders.
Mm-hmm.
We have all that other stuff.
Yeah, we do try to, debunk, I guess is the word, every chance
in actuality,
we get.
a good deal of paranormal investigating is not proving they exist, it's proving that it's not there.
Right.
You have a defective dimmer switch.
Exactly. When you exhaust all your sources, the light, the shadows, a certain time of the day, a noise from a truck, who knows what, any one of 1,000 different reasons. You go through all that, you can't explain what's causing this. We've got something out of the norm here.
That's what
now
brings
we have
us
something
back.
paranormal.
That's what brings us back for more.
Yeah.
And the only thing we ever show with the client is something that is so clear that it's not one of those Class E EVPs that you have to keep clearing up over and over and over again. What we show them and what we give them is stuff that you can hear with your ear.
See, that's the
and
part
understand.
I don't like about the EVPs. And and some EVPs, like you said, you've gotten some good voices. And I've heard some that are very good. And I said, yeah, okay, there you've got something wonderful. But 99.9% of them, it's a lot of just somebody playing with the dial on the radio.
Right.
Basically what it comes down to. And so then I'll ask investigators, and I've asked many of them the same question. I say, if these entities are taking the trouble to come from the other realm to communicate with us, to say something to us, or to make their presence known, why aren't they doing it in a way that we're capable of understanding it? And then the answer I get from about 90% of them is, oh, because in the other realm, they speak in a different language. They speak in a different way. I'm like, now wait a
never heard
minute.
that, no.
You know, now wait a minute. I says, you know, now years ago, Harry Houdini, and his mother passed away in 1913. And after her death, he went around to all these psychics and mediums and everything to try to contact his mother's spirit. One very high-priced, famous medium at a seance, mother's coming in and she's talking and saying a storm, and she's talking up a storm and everything like this. But after the seance was over, Harry Houdini says, you know, I don't understand why my mother was speaking in English. My mother only spoke Hungarian all her life. She never spoke English.
Oh.
Medium didn't miss a beat and said, well, in heaven, all the spirits speak English.
Oh, no.
So it's nice to know that in heaven, the language of choice is English. You know?
Well,
It just happens to be.
I think with us and with a lot of them is you have different ways to communicate, and we just figure whatever's easiest for the spirit itself. I don't know what's easier for them. I don't know where they get there. You know, where are you going to take the energy from? The EM pump? You're going to take it from the water flow? You're going to take it from me?
Yeah, whatever.
So we use a lot of different.
A lot of times it's not even
different
voice.
things.
A lot of times it's the lights are flickering.
Right.
Right.
You smell the cigarettes. You smell the cologne. Something, whatever. You know, some way they're letting you know they're there. Their presence is known. You know,
We've had a couple of clients that were Hispanic, and we don't speak Spanish. And we've given them the reports, and then Ken is also, instead of just giving them small clips, he'll give them the entire thing. And they'll listen to it, and they'll pick up words in the Spanish language
Sure.
that we wouldn't pick
of
up.
course, yeah. Mhm.
And they keep coming back to us. Well,
Oh,
we
so
heard
see,
this
they
and
don't
we heard
speak only
this.
English in heaven then, huh?
don't
No,
think so.
no. And we've had Audra doing the
Or in the
dowsing.
other realm.
Yeah, we've had Audra doing the dowsing rods, and they'll ask the questions in Spanish, and you know, yes or no, and we have no idea what they're asking, and
Right.
and they say, you know, yeah, it was pretty accurate. We asked the same question, got the same answer, and it's like, well, we weren't making. I always videotape this, and I always concentrate on.
It's
her
nice to do. It's
hands.
nice to have as much documentation as you can.
Right, and
you never know when something's going to, you know, might be that great discovery that you get.
You never know,
Right.
and I videotape her hands too, so that people can see she's not manipulating the.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and people really appreciate what we give them. I think.
Good. Yeah.
I think so.
Well, they have us back, and they give us a referral.
I have a question to ask. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. I'm just asking for curiosity's sake. Do you charge for your investigation?
No, we
No.
do not.
Yeah. See, most good investigators I know do it just purely for the sake of doing it. For
Right.
The,
I mean, I
help
pay for
the client. You
Right.
know. You know.
I pay for my stuff, and these guys pitch in. You know.
And
for
then
the
my next
flash
question
drives
is,
and
what is the goal? Now, okay, you've gone to a client's residence, their business, whatever it may be, and you've found something there. You have some evidence of something going on. Now, what do we do? Okay, we know it's there. What do we do now?
Well, it depends on the
is
client.
Is it to get it out of there, or is it just to let them know, yeah, it is
It
here,
depends
to
on what the
reinforce
client
it, whatever?
wants.
Yeah, I mean, we'll tell.
Have you ever had anybody that said, yeah, okay, we know it's here. Can you do something to
Yes.
make it go away?
Yeah, and we really don't have anything for that. Nancy does a really great sage blessing.
Okay.
I can do a Christian Catholic blessing with holy water and chalk, but we don't have anything like an exorcist or a demonologist or
Well, an
anything in
exorcism
that way.
wouldn't necessally be used for
Not
something like
necessarily
this.
for
An
that,
exorcist
but-
would be more
But
for
I
demonic
would say
possession.
80% of
Yeah,
our
we
clients,
don't.
though, is as long as we know it's not here to hurt us, and it's a family member, or we have nothing to worry, then we're fine with it.
Okay,
You know, we
yeah.
can say, hey, leave me alone tonight and get out of this room. Don't come back.
So how does the client feel about this? Now, you've come in, you've done the investigation, we've got some great EVP recordings, we've gotten some nice photographs, we have some nice evidence that there's something going on here. That's it?
Pretty much that's.
You see,
know,
sometimes I like to be the devil's advocate.
No, and we give them what we found, you know, and hopefully that answered the questions they had. And if it hasn't, you know, we'll offer to come back a second time.
Okay.
You know, now that you've thought of some more questions, or you thought of some other stuff, or maybe there's another room.
Now, what would your response be to somebody who says, okay, we know something's down there, and thank you, you've come and you've reinforced that, and you've made it clear to us that there is definitely, but we would like it to be gone. Now, how do you respond to that? Do you say, well, we can't really do that, we don't do
Right.
it, we can refer you
But
to
we do
someone,
Exactly.
or...
But we
do
let them
offer
know
the-
that going in too.
We do offer the cleansings as well at that time.
Okay.
And sometimes it's all it takes is somebody's mental to be like, okay, so we're getting all the negativity out of my house, now I'm good. And sometimes it's all it is. It's just
Yeah, is
the
it
mental
necessarily
part of it.
negativity, though? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes
No.
these spirits are there, and they're not really harming
Right.
anyone.
No,
or
but
doing
then you
anything.
do get some. We had a client that we don't believe there was any evil or demons in the house. Well, until you heard my stomach growl and you thought it was in the closet.
That was
He
awesome.
bumped it.
Yes,
Man, I thought we had
she-
something. It was
She looked
awesome.
up, she heard the growl and looked up and went, "Oh, did you hear that?" I said, "I felt that."
Yeah, I'm hungry. We
That's
got to
me,
stop
yeah.
at Denny's.
But we're certain that there was nothing there evil but the homeowner is convinced that there's evil in that house, and she wants a demonologist or an exorcist.
Get a priest in to bless it.
She has. Well, the thing is that
Supposedly.
she's not of a religious.
If you're lucky to find a priest to be able to do it, they're so
Right.
short of Catholic priests right now. It's hard to find one that'll come out and do any kind of extra.
She's not of a
Or-
religious order in that way. She's a Native American.
Ah, okay. This leads to another thing then too. Usually, you find people that have the least religious convictions. They seem to be pretty open to this kind of stuff, and it seems like things like to hang around those type of people. People that have some sort of religious convictions and that kind of stuff like that, they don't seem to bother too much with them because they're pretty
Right.
founded.
They're closed-minded, I think.
Yeah, they're pretty founded in God and that kind of thing like that, and they don't, they know that.
Right.
And so some people are a little more easy to get to. They kind of hang around them, Yeah.
Well, we have other. We have contacted other paranormal groups that we know, especially this one with the demonologist. We're still trying to help her because we just don't have any other avenues right now. But we've contacted a demonologist, and they won't go near her. We've contacted another team that won't touch
demonologist?
her.
That's what they call themselves.
That's what
yeah.
she calls herself. Yeah.
She's a certified demonologist.
I'm not sure there's a certification.
I
for
was
that.
going to say, I don't think there's a certification in that. Yeah,
No.
Catholic Church does still do exorcisms, but boy, you got to go through literally hell and high water, no pun intended there, to prove that there's anything. I mean,
And we
you know,
found nothing in
a
the
little
house
girl
to
doesn't
begin
just spin
with.
her head around and spit up pea soup and they go and do an
Right.
exorcism.
Right.
I mean, there's
Right.
more. It's sometimes a couple of years
Right.
of investigating before they actually will go and do.
We had one picture that
A
we
bona
caught
fide
from their
exorcism.
house off of a
Just that
TV,
orb off
and
the
that's
TV, I
all we
wasn't
got
sure.
in the house.
You got the picture off the TV.
It was the TV was off,
Reflection.
and it was a reflection off of it. So
there was no
caught an odd
credibility.
orb.
I mean,
Who knows what it was?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the only thing we caught. But she's determined she wants us back again to come out and redo it, and we're just
But,
there's nothing there.
Audra's husband's been out with us.
How many
He's,
times have you gone to this place?
Just once.
I would give it another shot. If for nothing else, just to satisfy the client's mind, and that way you make yourselves look good too. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
even
true.
though you're not charging for this,
Right.
of course.
Right,
you know,
and
but
we haven't.
there again, too, you don't want them to just say, "Oh yeah, fine,
No,
they
we're
came
still
out,
in
they did this, they
contact.
didn't find anything, now they're through with it." Sometimes the second time you go, you might hit pay dirt.
That's true.
You know.
We have done that twice.
Yeah.
When we've gone back a second time, we've
Been
gotten
to a few
stuff. Yeah,
places more than
If
once.
for nothing else, just to make yourself look good to the client too.
That's
You
true.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
at least we tried. I mean,
And then
yeah,
you
at
put
this
her
point-
mind at peace a little bit too. We've
Yeah.
come out a second time, and there really is nothing here. Maybe she'll feel a little better about it that way too.
We can
You know,
hope.
unless she's just so bound
can
and
hope.
determined that no, I want my ghost.
Remember, I brought one home. Yeah. My wife was not happy.
That's true.
Oh, you had an attachment.
Well, I think so. I came home and it was time.
Was it from one of these investigations?
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
And it's time to go to bed, and we always close the bedroom door and lock it because if anybody's going to break in, they're going to have to make a lot of noise to get in there.
You
And I had-
close and lock the bedroom door in your own house?
Yeah.
He's a retired
Yeah.
cop.
Okay.
So, dog's in there. We're getting ready, and somebody. It sounded like somebody was in the front room, banging
Okay.
around, to the point where the dog was growling at the door and
Okay.
hackles up.
Yeah.
And as I went to the door handle shook, and my
Ah.
wife's panicking. And I said, okay, so I said, I'm sending the dog out, and I opened the door, and the dog ran out snarling, and I turned lights on, looked around, there's nobody in the house, doors are all locked, windows are all locked. Went to bed, didn't do anything, and actually it never happened again. Didn't have to do anything, and it just
Sometimes it's a one-time thing, and that's it. It's done, and that's it. I've had the spinning doorknob happen to me one time too. I actually wasn't even doing an investigation. It was actually on a tour.
Well, my wife wasn't
And I
sure
was up
she.
in a spot, looking around where I like to do, where I wasn't really supposed to be.
Yeah, well, since I've been
Yeah.
doing it, she wasn't sure she believed in
I was
any of
going,
this and
you know.
wasn't buying into it until that night. Now she's like, okay, have fun, don't bring anything home. I'll try not to.
Well, so your wife is like, okay, you got a nice hobby here now since you're retired, but that's about it. You do this.
Well, I'm
and
not. I'm not retired. I'm still working, but not doing the sheriff's department. or
Gotcha.
nothing.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a nice hobby.
it's an awesome hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing with it. You've got to, if your heart's not in it, find something else to do.
Right.
Really.
No,
Exactly.
And that's what
But
I
you
love
get many
about
people
these.
that are in it just for curiosity's sake, and they like to do it occasionally, and that's all right. It's fine.
Right.
Now, ages ago, when I started doing this, there was nothing. I mean, first off, we didn't have the computer, so there was no way to connect with other people. I'm sure there were groups around, but I didn't know of them.
Right.
I didn't know who was out there, and then later on, you started finding all this stuff out that there's people out there doing this, and that's actually where I found out that there are people out there that liked ghosts like I did through tours, like the Richard Crowe, ghost tour and that kind of stuff. And then I became friends with him and stuff, and that, so that's how you find these things out. Back in the day. Now, go up on your computer. Ghost
have a whole
groups,
list.
bing, 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 bing. There's everybody in the world and their mother and their mother's son is doing it. So.
Well, I'm glad I found these guys because they have the same passion about it that I do, and it just, I was very lucky.
That's what you have to do. When you're doing a team, you got to be able to work together.
Yes.
I don't join any one team in particular for a couple of different reasons. One being the dramatics of it. All of a sudden now, if I've aligned myself, say West Suburban with you guys, now all of a sudden, because somebody from another group doesn't like you, now they're not friends with me. For no other reason other than that I've joined that group.
Right.
I try to just stay on a friendly basis with everyone. I try to do it that way, and so far it's worked. I've done that. I'm an honorary member of a lot of groups, which is very nice. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah,
and I
we're the same
do
way.
work with occasionally with other groups from time to time, go on investigations with them and stuff like that. But I don't like to actually align myself with anyone in particular. Not because I think one is more superior than the other, but just for that reason. I try to stay just on a friendly basis with everybody. Like that.
Yeah, we stay friendly with all the other groups that we've encountered, and swap stories and techniques, and and it's been a real positive experience.
Good.
I just wanted to, and I don't remember the last names. I'm so bad at names. We have more than just the three of us in our team, and I would just like to make sure they're recognized.
Okay.
Correct.
Ken, you
We
wanna
have
take
we
care
have
of
we have who came first? Was that Tammy?
Tammy.
Hayden. She's out west.
She's about 2 hours away in Milledgeville.
Jeez, all these towns, I don't even know where they are.
Yeah,
no
we
kidding.
didn't know where
We
that was either until we
had
went
to
out
look
there.
on a map quite a few
And,
times for things.
we have Kim and Truman
from Batavia.
Batavia, and Owen is one of our founding members.
Kim is a girl,
with us.
Truman is a guy.
Is her son.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Yeah, he's 16.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
in training.
He's in training.
Good.
We made him an
That's awesome.
honorary
He's a
member.
good kid.
He is a very good kid.
Good.
So
Yeah.
that's and we're always looking for more people that are like-minded that want, and that give us a break sometimes when we have every weekend that we're going out and doing things, and sometimes twice on a weekend.
Yeah.
We try to give ourselves one weekend free a month, but it doesn't always work out that way.
That's how much.
Sometimes you have to turn the tap off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes you just have to. You got to give yourself a break from it. Not that
Well-
you stay away from it so long, but you don't want to burn yourself out with this either.
But having multiple people in the group, if for some reason I can't make it, they can pull somebody else in.
Someone else does.
And you still have that.
Or you just plain and simply just reschedule that
Yeah.
event.
Right.
I'm sorry we can't do it on the 13th. We'll do it next week on the 21st.
Oh, we do
Whatever,
that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, then you've got your investigation, and then with Ken, who has 3 audio recorders, it's not just 2 hours worth of evidence. Well, he's got 6 hours worth of evidence.
3 audio recorders, 3 camcorders,
And then the next weekend we have another investigation, and we still have to do the reveal for that first house all over again. So it's, we've
I enjoy
had to
it though. So
curb it a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
and you could, and I tell them, I'll sit and be listening to 8 hours of audio, and just as you're getting to where you can't take it anymore, you hear that one voice, and now your adrenaline's up again, and you're ready to go for another 8 hours. And
See, there again, too, now, a lot of people, they watch the shows that are on TV, and they're under the misguided idea that they're going to go out and this is how it's going to be. And they're not seeing this. You're not seeing 6 hours of tape that you got to
Yes.
sit there and look at this and listen to this. And
right, and not
it
only
goes
listen
off
to
while
it
you're
once,
listening to it, and-
you're listening to
Yes,
it 2 or 3
See
times.
something you didn't, you missed the first time
Right.
around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially if you're just staring at a laser grid for 3 hours.
Yeah, just to see if anything turns up, right? Yeah, they're not seeing that. These shows in an hour, boom, there it is. And many people think they're going to go out there and they're going to do that. What kind of camera do you use to take your photos with?
I just use my phone.
Okay, and you come up with that. So see,
Yes.
nothing
Yeah.
special. You don't have to have
It's
anything
nothing
special.
I
special.
have
Right.
I have a Canon, digital
I honestly
that I
feel
use.
if they want to be seen, they're going to show whoever they
Correct.
want to show.
Amen. Yep, I
Right.
could not agree more. Yeah, I could not possibly.
Well,
agree more.
Nancy took a picture in Waterman, just taking random shots like she does, and looking at them later on. She's got. Do you have the little shadow figure
So you're
elbow?
taking pictures of men in the water?
I wish. Okay, so this is just a basic kitchen.
This is somebody's kitchen. Okay.
And we're,
Hi.
we're sitting around the table and we're having coffee and we're just talking about, the investigation. Now, in the next frame, you're going to see this black shadow.
Okay, like a blur thing. Okay, whatever
Yep.
that is. Yeah, all right.
If you look in the first one, it's tiny.
Okay.
I take 2 pictures in every section. Like if I was taking your picture, I would take it and I would take it again before I even moved
Mm-hmm.
my camera. So this time it's longer. And then we went to black.
Go back
and-
to that first frame. Okay, the second picture, you've actually got more, a little bit more of the wall in it than you do with that one, but not enough to have that much of the thing in there. But there is a
And-
little bit more of it. Yeah.
So then we went black
Okay.
and white
Okay.
so we could see it a little better, and you can kind of see that was something moving. That was like, I mean, she said there's a shadow person that she sees in her kitchen all the time. It's an old farmer.
Okay.
He paces back and forth, and he looks like he's always angry. So,
Bad year for crops.
well, yeah. But when we got this, I found it that night as I was going through my photos, and
What's
it-
the
it
arrow
fits
pointing to?
perfect.
The shadow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just
Well, the
showing-
arrow's kind of pointing to electrical out,
It's
and
like
the
it's
shadow's,
going-
shadow's over here. This is what I'm supposed to be looking at, right?
Yeah.
But the
see,
arrow's pointing to the...
It's showing that there's a movement.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
see the switch?
Okay. All right.
So it looks like it was moving. I wish I would have known he was there because I would have kept taking photos.
Right.
It
Maybe
would have
I
been
could
nice to,
gotten-
since there's some movement on this too, videotape it too and see
Yeah.
what
I
you
know,
get.
and it was
right.
just that's
Yeah.
when we first got
And
there. We were sitting down
we were
talking
in
with the
that
client.
room,
Yeah.
But nobody sees it with their naked eye. I got it with the camera.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was pretty
Well,
awesome.
yeah, and we actually at that location he took us outside because he wanted to show us across the alley there was an 18-year-old that had died of a gunshot wound. He wasn't sure if it was self-inflicted or if they were playing, however it was. And while we were out there, we're talking. It's quiet as can be. It's 11 o'clock at night. Get back home. Didn't get nothing out there. And Nancy gets a hold of me and she says, "You're not going to believe this." And I'm listening as we're talking with the client. You hear 4 gunshots and they're clear as, they're gunshots.
Yeah.
So we played
They're
it for
loud.
the homeowner, and he's like, "No, we would have
This
heard
was
that
outside,
Yes,
Right.
we would have heard that outside. It was so quiet. It's it's waterman." He says, "No, that didn't happen." Well, we
So
picked
you didn't
it up.
hear it with
No.
the naked ear, but then
No.
later on it was on the recorders.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Their
All right.
conversation continued the entire time. I mean,
Right.
if you had heard that, you would have
We would have been hitting the ground.
hitting the
so-
ground,
Yeah.
stopping the talking, and just
Yeah,
Okay.
so that was another one that, oh wow, a moment, And
Any negatives with this, Nancy? Anything for you? Anything you've had so far? Well, you're kind of, well, you're not, I was going to say infants at this. You've been doing it for a year and a half or 2 years now, whatever. Anything negative so far that you say, I don't know about this. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing here.
No.
No, so far it's all been a good
No.
experience for
It's-
you.
It's wonderful, and I hope I continue to do it and learn more
don't see
and
why you shouldn't.
experience
Yeah.
more.
Mhm.
Yes.
What about you, Audra?
as a Catholic, it's hard to struggle between the two sometimes.
You know,
Just because the Catholics, this is not something you normally really look
well,
into.
let me tell you something. You brought up something. You brought the Catholic thing up, and
Uh-oh.
no, not at all. No. A lot of times I get this because people say to me, they say, you go to Bible study and you're a churchgoer and you do all this and you're into all the scripture and all this and that and everything. How is it that you do all this ghost hunting and this paranormal and all that and you read palms and all this? And I says, are you kidding me? Have you looked at have you taken the time to open up the Bible and look at it? Mm-hmm. This is where this stuff all started. Let me
Right.
tell you. How many people do you have in the
Spirits.
Bible that are dream interpreters?
Right.
And soothsayers and astronomers and astrologers and people that have conjured ghosts and people that are mediums and you don't get this as Catholics because why? We don't as Catholics read the Bible. We don't read the Bible.
Well, we get certain excerpts every
I
week,
actually
and
worked the
that's
whole
about it.
program out. I did a whole program about the paranormal and supernatural in the Bible. And this is the first time in my life I ever did that. Usually when I throw programs out like to the different libraries for lectures and stuff like that, I have the program all done. First time I did this, I said, I'm going to do this and see if anybody even picks up on it because this could very easily be a controversial thing and they may say, we don't want to touch that. That's going to rub people the wrong way. I threw it out and surprisingly 2 libraries picked up on it and said, yeah, we want you to come and talk about that.
Oh, that's great.
It was no problem finding the evidence. I mean, there's plenty of evidence there. you know.
Right.
But yeah. But so much of this is there. And, Jesus walks on the water. What's the first thing the disciples said? It's a ghost.
Right.
For them to say it's a ghost, you'd
Right.
have to know what a ghost was.
You would have to.
Yeah. So,
Well, it's
I
like
agree.
I'm Lutheran and our church, and once the word got out that this is what I do, I kind of worried about. All right, am I going to catch it from pastor? Am I going to catch? I'm chairman of the board of trustees. No, you know what? Nobody talked about it, but
does
there
the
are
congregation know you do this? Or you
yes,
kinda keep-
yes,
okay,
they
go
know
on.
I do it. Nobody's
And
actually
you're,
came
on
out.
you're a trustee with the church?
But there are a lot of closet paranormal buffs at that church because when nobody else is around, they come over and go, so, come here, let's talk. I've had this experience, right? So they just don't want to say it in front of everybody else because they're afraid of what people will think. And
Right.
it's like, no, I don't, say it. This is what we do, and I'll
Trust
sit
me,
down.
it's there. It's in
It
the
is
Bible.
there.
It's in the church, and this stuff all started when time began. I mean, it's there. So
Yeah,
you
well,
know,
now
it's-
it's been,
yeah,
since
yeah.
we've been doing. My church is fine with it. Nowadays they're like, hey, what's going on? Did you have a ghost hunt this week, or Yeah, we did.
It's funny when you're sometimes afraid to broach a group of people about it, but it's the one person who you're the most afraid of is the one who's going to say, let me tell you this story I had when I was 14. And you just don't expect it to coming from that group.
That was like that garden group we did. There was one lady, when the question, is anybody a non-believer? And the one lady that raised her hand, a 70-year-old woman that's not buying any of this. And by the end of the night, she's the one asking all the questions, and she's wanting to know how, well, when I smell the lilacs in my house, is that my mother? So we I think we turned her big time.
Well, gee, now if you don't believe in it,
Yeah.
you're really not smelling lilacs. You're
Right.
imagining the whole
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
So that was
I love it. Yeah,
fun, yeah.
I know. I think many people are, like you say, closet.
Yes.
What was your term?
closet paranormal buffs.
Yeah, yeah. They're kind of like, I want to believe in this, but yet I want to be taken seriously by people, and I don't want people. It's
Yeah.
just,
Well, that's the
Right.
thing. Even with my job, as a safety
that's why I say
manager,
eventually when this is recognized as an actual science,
Right.
then it'll be.
I
so
was
much
worried
easier.
how that would go over at my job. As far as is the VP and my boss, are they going to go? This guy's nuts, And then now you don't get promoted. You don't, No, once you say it, they
I know many people that do that, like you say about the Facebook pages and stuff like that. They have that, and they say, "No, my employers can't know that I'm doing this."
Right.
I'm like, well, are you really that embarrassed by it? If this is something that you're really doing, that you feel that embarrassed about, or that,
No.
maybe you shouldn't be doing
right.
it.
I agree with you 100% on that. And that's
My ultimate goal, and these guys look at me like I'm crazy. I want to put us in a parade. I think that we should do a float and do the parade in downtown Aurora because we're all from Aurora. And that's my ultimate goal. Eventually, I'm going to make it happen. So
Why don't you do a Halloween
so
parade?
you can be right there with us on our float.
I'll be on the float there. We'll wave at the people.
Be
And
like,
we'll,
"Hey,
have, we'll have
everybody."
Mardi Gras beads to throw and all that kind of stuff. And,
Just throw our bracelets at 'em. Throw our pens
yeah.
and
We'll see.
bracelets.
We'll see which parade she gets us in. I'm not sure.
I just think it would be great advertisement because a lot of people don't even know that we're out there, and if they don't go on Facebook or they're, it's not like you can put it in the newspaper.
well,
there
people
aren't
I think are much more
newspapers.
aware of it now, more so than they were, say, 20 years
Oh,
ago
definitely.
or 25
Right.
years ago, because now there's more out there. The only thing I question is some of the information they're getting is not necessarily the best of information. Everything has two sides to it. Okay, if you're
Yes.
watching some of the shows on TV and you're looking at these, and this is something that you say, I'd like to do that. It's inspiring me to do it. That's great. And it did a good thing. It got someone interested in it. That's good. But then the negative side to it is they may go into this and say, okay, I'm going to go out there in an hour time. Look what they did in an hour. I can do this the same way. And then when it doesn't happen, they sort of get discouraged by it because they didn't get the instant gratification, and they
Right.
move on to playing chess or whatever.
Right, exactly. They don't have a
Yeah.
plan.
we
Yeah.
love to
Mhm.
promote
Yeah.
this, and
Yeah.
we're actually going to Lyle
In
soon
October, they're
for,
doing
like,
a fundraiser at the end of October.
Yeah.
And they've got 6 different places that we're going to investigate between now and October, and then we're going to do.
Now, how's that raising funds?
I haven't gotten the information.
It's probably
her
from
yet.
that cocktail party they're going to have before. What they want us to do is to do these investigations. Then they
that'll
want to
be
have
great.
like a
Give
get
people enough-
together.
keep people get soused up
Yeah.
enough, they'll see all kind of
They
stuff.
want them to. She was telling me they want to have a meet and greet with the investigators, and then the next day, I think you said we just.
I think
do
the
a
next day is the
presentation.
actual
Well,
presentation.
that's a
Yeah.
good thing too, because then people see that maybe you're normal people.
Yes.
You know.
And I grew up in Lisle, so this is
Okay.
kind
Well,
of going
they're a
all the way.
paranormal people. I'm not abnormal. But
I actually grew up across the street from one of the places that we're going to be investigating, so it's
okay.
it's kind of a cool thing for me to come back home again. So this should be kind of an interesting thing for
I
us.
lived in the Summit, Argo area all my life until 3 years ago. I retired and sold the home and that, and then I moved to Elsa out there. So I moved from Summit, where I was close to Resurrection Cemetery, which of course, Resurrection Mary and all that. It was I grew up with that. So I moved to Elsa, where I'm surrounded by 13 cemeteries.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Elsa, we're surrounded by 13 cemeteries in our area. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
yeah, when we went to the cemetery in Aurora to research that place that we went to, there's supposedly the father's there, the mother, the daughters, the son. They said that the son died because the mother didn't believe in medicine, modern medicine. Back in 1800, she was
Maybe they were
whatever.
Christian Science.
That's
And,
what she was, yeah.
So that the dad buried him right outside the parlor, so she'd have to see that every time she was in
She
there.
buried him
as a-
outside the parlor.
The dad did as revenge to the mother.
Right.
Oh, you mean
because-
in the
Yeah.
yard, so it was in
Yeah,
view of
so
the- oh,
she could
geez.
see it.
Yeah.
And then in the book it says that later he was moved to where he's next to his mother, at the cemetery. Well, we doing our research.
That's unusual too, because back in those days they really didn't move.
No, they didn't
much.
move them anyway because we went to the
There was not a
cemetery
lot
to
to
do our
move.
research,
Right.
and it's not the son that's next to her; it's the husband. We can't find the son, so he's under a street in Aurora somewhere.
He's somewhere.
So we had to, we told him that when we went, we went there. But
Yeah, back in the day they didn't do too much moving the graves because the way they were buried in that, things
wooden
decayed very
box,
rapidly.
right.
There wasn't a lot to move.
yeah, but it's that was an old, interesting cemetery too, and it's
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
yeah.
We love going to cemeteries and
Oh,
just looking at the
yeah.
old gravestones, and oh my gosh.
I could, me too.
A
I
nice
love it.
spring day. Where
Yeah.
do I want to be? The graveyard.
Well, yeah, and you start
yeah,
looking for
the
what's the
cemetery-
oldest one you can find.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, and the cemetery architect, and you can always, what I can always do too? I can always tell the architecture, like which stones are the catalog stones that were ordered from Sears Roebuck, because one time Sears sold headstones to the mail order business, and you can always tell, especially when you go out, like way out, like in a rural area, and there's a small little cemetery, 90% of those stones are going to be mail order. Yeah. They were all ordered from Montgomery Ward or from Sears. So,
Really?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
it's
like
neat.
looking at the dates and see, did the whole
And
family
certain
was
styles too. A certain style of stone was popular during during one 10-year period, and then it changed.
Yeah.
And like marble stones are the real old ones. The unfortunate thing about the marbles, a lot of the information is washed off because marble
Yes.
doesn't,
Right.
which prompted them to use something more durable. Because marble's a beautiful material, but it just doesn't hold up
It
well in
doesn't,
the
yeah.
elements. Yeah.
Yeah, we had that one family that was there where they had a daughter that died at a year old, and then
Sure.
a year later they had another daughter that died at a year old, and then a year
infant
later
mortality was very
It was
common.
horrible.
it was
Yeah.
and you looking at that and you could just feel the,
Well, for
the
many
grief.
for many years, historically, the two biggest killers for women were childbirth
Right.
and fires. But many of the people don't know. Women were scalded and burned to death because you're around kitchen fires, they're around stoves,
Sure.
around wood
They
burning
didn't
fires.
have fire
and
extinguishers back then.
Dresses caught fire, hair caught fire, and you burned and you died.
That was my grandmother when she told me her first experience that she had ever had. It involved her mom, who had died in childbirth, and my grandmother was in the room and
Yeah.
saw her spirit leave the body and go out the window.
And then infant mortality was real high too. A couple may marry and have 5 children. Of the 5, you may be lucky and have 2 or 3 that survive to adulthood.
Right.
Very common. You expected to lose a few of them. So yeah,
Right.
just the way things were.
Yeah.
And you just hope the mother survived from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we do get feedback. We'll get calls or messages from our clients months later that tell us, things are, since you've been here and you did your cleanse, things have been fine. We have no problems.
Good,
Or
okay.
now that we know how to deal with it, we know who it is, or we suspect now everything's fine.
I never asked you.
and-
What about you? Any negatives from this outside of the one attachment that you think you pulled in that time?
No, that was kind of neat too, but it didn't stick around. But no,
Okay.
I don't. No. The only negative part of this whole thing is I still have a job and I can't do it more than I want to. So.
Yeah, but I thought you retired.
No. That was the part-time. That was a part-time.
When you
thing.
retire, you go and
I
you work
can't
at McDonald's
retire,
or
no.
you become the door greeter at Walmart.
Yeah.
That's what you
No,
do when
I'm
you
the safety
retire.
guy at-
Or you go and you hunt ghosts.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I retired and I work 2 days a week. I work a couple hours at McDonald's.
I hunt
Yeah.
turkeys. I hunt ghosts.
Oh, you hunt turkeys.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's got
they're
to
everywhere.
He's got to afford
Lady-
the hobby, so he's got to still keep
Oh yeah,
working.
well, yeah, trust me, I was the king of hobbies there for a while. Yeah, record collecting, movie trivia.
Oh, I just got into coin collecting, so
Oh boy, here we go. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you have a home, you have room for all this stuff. When you go from a 4-bedroom, full basement, 2.5-car garage, a bag comes into the house, but I never see a bag leave. Now, when you sell all that and you move to a small retirement apartment, different ball game. You don't
That's
have-
gonna
you
be
don't have room
tough,
for all that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now you collect only things that really mean something. You
Right.
don't just buy a box of records.
Oh,
you buy
yeah.
the 2 that are really something.
I've often thought of that when my wife wants to have a garage sale, and I'll say I'm going to go out in the garage, and if I haven't used it in 3 years, you're going to. Then I look at it and go,
there's
well,
the 2-year
that's not
rule,
going to
the
happen.
3-year rule. Yeah.
Yeah, I might need that later.
If you'll find out if the day ever comes where you do downsize, you'll find out that there's a lot of things you get rid of. Yeah, I went through
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
We always say that when he passes away, we're going to take his equipment.
I'll
Well,
haunt
certain
you.
things, certain things somebody's always going to want.
His
that's
wife's
what
not gonna want
I
it.
always said that. I says I want if there's a way for me to do it, I want to come back.
I do.
That's the one thing I want. Like at my funeral or wake or whatever they're going to have for me, I have no specifics about any of that. But I said somewhere, if it's on a card, if it's on a flower or something, I just want it said, "I'll be right back." That's all. 'Cause
Well, that's what I told them. I don't know if I'll be able to come
That's
back
it.
for my
That's all
funeral.
I just want. Yeah.
Can you come? I don't know how long the orientation takes once you're gone. What do you got to go through the classes, and then you can go to haunt, and I don't know how long that takes. But
Yeah.
and we tell people that too. Well, my grandfather, he lived in Ohio, and he's here. Well, it's not like they have to jump in a car and drive this far.
Right.
Right.
It just doesn't work that way,
If they're taking the trouble to come and visit you or something, there's something they want to tell you.
Yes.
Or they just want to be around you. They want to just say,
Well,
it's fine and we're doing good.
Yeah,
and,
and to get people to understand that, I mean, we had the lady that's, an ancestral hunt where it could be a relative from that you've never met,
Who
that's
knows?
here.
Yeah.
And the wife's like, well, if he never knew my husband was born, how could he be here with the family? Well, he's been with the family growing through.
Sure.
So he's just here. He'll be here for your kids, or him or her.
A lot of times somebody will describe somebody that they never met the person. And I say, oh my God, that's Uncle Saul or whoever,
Yeah.
How did you know that,
We had a client who had a shawl from her grandmother, who was from Mexico, and the grandmother had passed away. And when we were doing the dowsing rods and we had some proximity sensors, you could see physically people coming in and out because of the way the sensors were going off.
Yeah.
And we kept saying, do you have something in the closet from somebody? Because it was this closet that was almost a portal. And sure enough, she goes, yeah, actually my grandmother's shawl is up there. And so it just came with the shawl and the grandmother, and God knows how many other people came with her.
That was very
awesome.
cool, because when she opened up for the rides, that's when she said the proximeters were just going nuts, like in a row coming out of the closet. And then when we were done,
It went back
the
up.
other way.
That was really
And even
good.
and the client was like, whoa. Yeah.
So run that by me again. You use the rods and...
We have, and I bought them. We've all got them. They're pretty much like EMF detectors, where
sensors.
you get close.
They
to them.
detect energy.
And they were
eBay.
just
Yeah.
they were just sitting on the table or in the floor by this closet, and they hadn't gone off all night until we started the rides. And I'm opening a portal, and they just started lighting up like crazy, coming out. And then when we were done, they lit
and
up
she was
going the other
closing
way.
the portal. You could just hear them
And
walking
you could-
by. The proximity switch sensor was going off.
And let me ask you, when you're doing this type of thing, can you feel it when you go into a location that's?
Oh God, yes.
The
Are you
energy,
kidding?
yes.
Oh, I get that. I get like a funny.
And I always wonder,
Yeah.
is it just us? Because
no.
we'll all the same thing. Do you? Yes, I feel this.
I can walk into a place and there's something going on.
And we've actually
Now here, I've had people come here to this house here, to the studio, and they say, yeah, you've got something going on over here.
Yeah.
Never once have I ever felt anything here. I haven't. They say, yeah, that's right. And we've had multiple people have come on here and said, there's something back here. Well, maybe they're the right person, maybe I'm the wrong person. John lives here. He's never experienced anything, Sometimes that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I had a thing one time when I was doing the shows at the other station at WARG. Actually, I was there about 1 o'clock in the morning. There was a guy that did, to try to make a long story short, guy did a heavy metal show there, heavy metal radio show there, and I wasn't aware that he was doing this. He did it like that late night, and the station manager said, oh, you've got to meet with Monty. Monty's a really fan of your show with Paranormal and all that, and so finally we connected, and one Wednesday night he invited me, he said, I want you to come on my show, and we'll talk Paranormal, and I said, okay, fine. So midnight, he did his show, and I thought his show went like all night, like till 3 in the morning or something, but the show ended like at 1. So fine, 1 o'clock in the morning, I walk into the empty school, dark, go all the way up to the room 400, which is the only room on the 4th floor. It's where the radio station is, and we're sitting there talking, and Monty had a Ouija board. We're talking about the Ouija, we're talking about stuff and all that. Now, I'm sitting facing the staircase, like the entrance that would have been the staircase that you walk up to get up there, and Monty's got his back to it, and he's talking to me. And every once in a while, I'm glancing over it, and I'm seeing something. I'm glancing. And then finally, he addresses, he says, Bob, what are you looking at? What's going on over there? And I says, Monty, I got to stop. I got to address this. There's a man standing there. This man just came in. Little old man. He's wearing a dark suit and a white shirt and a dark tie. And I says, hello, do you want to come in? And he wouldn't, he would stand, and he would, kind of come in, but then he'd back up. He didn't want to, come into the light type of thing like that. He's talking to me, but he was talking like a broken English in it. And I says, I can't understand you. And then he got mad at me. He's like, well, you should know what I'm talking about. You should know this language. Maybe he figured the Polish last name or something. I should know what. I said, no, I don't understand you. So then he was talking to me a little more clear, and he says, I really like your music. I like your music. I thought, this old man likes heavy metal music?
Yeah.
I says, you got to be kidding me. No, I like the opera. Oh. I says, you've been here before then, haven't you? Because sometimes on this show, I've collected old opera records all my life, and I'll bring on sometimes like a Caruso recording or something. Some old opera star that haunts an opera house somewhere, and we'll play the recording, and then I say their story. They haunt the Metropolitan Opera, whatever it is, that. And he liked that. So thereafter, I would always make a point from time to time of coming on and playing some opera. Never again did I ever contact the spirit. Never again. Just that one time he was there. And now Monty's looking at me.
I was
and
going to say, Monty never even...
Nothing. He's not even feeling this. He's not seeing it, nothing. And I'm conversing with the guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
was
So
like
it happens.
It was like Saturday night when you come up. I was in the bathroom. She comes down the hall. What? I'm like, what? Did you call my name? No, I didn't call
heard
your
my
name.
I actually,
But
the
then
name
likewise
is on
too, I've
our
been with
audio.
people where they're feeling something that and mean nothing. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes the person
Right.
just wants to communicate with them. They don't want anybody. You know,
Well, it's like I said with the pictures. I'm getting them on a basic phone.
Yeah.
Where we don't get them on a higher end
my
camera.
high-end camera won't.
John, we are running a little longer here. Is that okay? All right. Yeah, we just want to keep it going for a little while because I know these folks came from a long,
No, we're long
way
too.
here. Yeah,
Yeah, we talk a
okay.
lot, too.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah. Mhm. When the conversation's going right, I like to keep it going. So yeah.
But
Sure.
even still, I'll take a picture, and I can be standing right next to her, take the exact same picture, and she'll get the picture, and I won't. But I'll have something on audio, and I'll have my recorder right next to hers, and she won't get it.
Sometimes
Yeah.
right person, wrong person. Now, when I say right or wrong person for that entity.
that moment,
entity.
right.
It's not that you're the right or the
Right.
wrong person. You know, sometimes wrong conditions. You know, whatever. Everything's got to click the right way. It's got to be the
Energy.
right time,
Right.
the right atmosphere, the right, whatever. Everything's got to just click, and then boom,
Right.
there it is. You have something.
Well,
Yeah.
we went to that house and Walter, the father,
Walter, yes.
and we talking with Walter, and Walter had a sense of humor because Audrey had a flashlight under her arm, and the flashlight came on in the bedroom right in my eye. Well, the EMF meter on the bed all of a sudden just starts going crazy.
Yeah.
And I said, if I didn't know any better, I'd think Walter was laughing at me. And then it did it again. And then she was crying because that's her dad. Oh, he's laughing. He had a great sense of humor. I could see him doing that. And
And Nancy had an experience with Walter
Yeah,
in the closet.
I went in it was actually like one of the first true experiences I had that kind of sold me to the whole paranormal team. But I was sitting in the closet by myself. It's a small walk-in closet. I had the doors closed, and my EMF reader was going off like crazy. And I had a little recorder going, but I didn't hear anything while I was in there. 10 minutes by myself. So we leave to go to the mall to get some shirts, and I'm following her, and I listened to my audio on the way to the mall. And this man was like, he was like going over my voice. And she's like, my dad always did that. So
Always
I was
clearing his
like,
throat.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
And because I was like, are you here? Give me a sign. Let me see
What
you.
did he
Or-
die from?
It was a lung ailment.
A throat ailment
yeah,
or something?
it was.
Okay, yeah, all
I
right.
want to say it was lung
Yeah,
cancer.
uh-huh, okay.
So that sold me when I heard
Hmm.
that. I got to the mall. I'm like, get in my truck now. Listen.
This was the first night I met her. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
well, we went and did a tattoo parlor in Aurora. He said he's had some problems there. And was it the first? No, it was the second night. The second time we went when the box hit the floor.
No, that was the first one.
Was that the
was
first one? We were setting things up, and I had the cases on the couch, and I was in another room. Nancy had her back to the camera that was going, and you just all of a sudden you hear on there bang, and she turns around and my case is on the floor, and well, that's kind of odd. How did that? It didn't slide off the couch.
No, it was like 3 feet away from
Yeah.
the couch.
So when we looking back at the video, the camera's showing back to Nancy. Well, there's a mirror over in the corner. It's like part of the display case. In the mirror, you can see the office chair behind the camera. You see the office chair. You see the office
Something with
chair all
mirrors,
of a
yeah.
sudden spin in a circle out of the way, and then 2 seconds later, the box flies to the floor. So like somebody got up.
So you're looking in the mirror and you're seeing the chair in
You see
the
the
mirror
chair
spinning.
spin and just spin out of the way and stop.
And of course, none of this is on video.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Ah.
Oh, yes,
The
it is.
spinning
This
chair
video I
is-
want to see.
Yeah, we'll bring that. That's
This is one
I
I want
brought
to
it.
see. Now, what videotaped it? Now, you had obviously you were looking at the mirror, but the camera was looking at something else.
no. The camera was facing the display case because we were.
It's like glass.
We put a REM pod up there.
Okay.
She was setting up, so I didn't even realize the mirror was in the glass down
Yeah.
there. So the camera's facing, like toward there, and the mirror was showing back behind the camera into the office area, and that's where we saw the chair move, and then the box went flying. And it's like,
It was
okay.
pretty
Yeah, I know
awesome.
people that won't buy mirrors like on antique dressers and things like that. They won't something about them.
Never
holding
know.
And, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We had something. There's a second floor, kind of, to the tattoo parlor, and he uses that for his office and a little living space. And the first time we went up there was nothing. The lights were on, and we didn't feel anything. We went into this little room, and there was no issues whatsoever. He turned the light off, and he left, and we were getting ready to go. And I go up there, and you had a totally different feel to it. All of a sudden, it felt really, really bad. I'm like, Nancy, Ken, get up here. And this doesn't feel right. We were doing a dowsing rod session on the first floor. My daughter had gone on the investigation with us, and she had started out sitting on the stairs. And by the end of the investigation, she was way in the room with us. She's like, "There's stuff going on up there. I hear things moving. I can't." And so she's sitting on the floor with us. And so for the second time that we went there, we spent most of our time up there.
Upstairs.
And upstairs, we spent most of our time. And I actually got
This
on
was
a
a private
video.
residence or a public
This was
place?
a tattoo parlor.
The tattoo parlor, right? You did say that, yeah. There's one over in Willow Springs, too. They claim that has some activity, and I was in there, and I didn't really do an investigation, but I did a
Springs.
walkthrough, and yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking Willow Creek. That's where we were for Willow
That's
Creek
the
Farms.
Willow
I don't know
Creek.
if you ever
Yeah.
heard that place.
Yeah, Willow Creek
Al-
Farms, is,
Al-
yeah.
Yeah, he invited us out there, and it was fun. That's where we took Truman.
He's
the
kind of a
60
character.
He is. You gotta love him though. You either love him or you don't.
Good way of putting
Yeah.
it.
We went out.
Al is a character, yeah.
Yeah, he
Don't know him personally, talk with him on phone. Actually, one time I was planning on bringing a group out there. Well, okay, never mind.
Yeah, he gave us the run of the place. And
But
it
Al's
was,
a character.
And it was
Nice man. I mean, nothing bad
Oh, yeah,
to say
no,
about
no,
him, but
not
just,
at all.
just a little out there.
But we went outside and we took Truman out to the shed, or out by the shed, and like I said, he's the 16-year-old. Well, I guess a coyote howled or screamed, and
That's it for me. I'm out
turn
of here.
around and
That was it for him,
Turn
too.
around and looked, and Truman's beating feet back to the house. He's not got it because they'd heard there's Indian burial ground. He was gone.
There.
That is an eerie sound when you're out there.
Yes.
It is.
But he's a great kid. He really wants to learn. He's working with dowsing rods.
Yeah.
He's
That's nice too, because then that's another generation coming into it, so
exactly
it's gonna go on,
exactly. And his mom being into it, she supports him. That's
Good,
just.
yeah.
And then she was just bringing him along to be with
What's
us.
the dad
And then
say about this? You guys
he's
are nuts.
fine.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
you
he's
know.
fine with it.
It's
But
okay. He doesn't want to do
Mom-
it, but he's okay.
yeah, Mom
We're
eventually
doing it.
decided, since I'm coming all the time, to bring him. I'll join, and I'll do this thing.
Yeah,
Good.
We invited her to join us. She
Yeah.
may as well. She's there all the time.
Right. Right.
She does a wonderful job.
Yeah. The first time we went to the cemetery is when I had that heart problem. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I had SVT, where my heart would race 300 beats a minute over. If I did anything strenuous, it would have to. And we went to First Cemetery. Which one was it?
Seaward Mound
Seaward
in Minooka.
Mound, right? And got out of the truck as soon as we pulled in. I'm feeling the heart racing, and okay, we got to go. And we
Not
left.
good, yeah.
We left 2 blocks away. Everything, and it doesn't normally do that. I usually got to go to the ER to get it taken care of. Subsides. Let's just go get a couple bottles of water. I'll be fine. We went to Dresden then. No.
Yeah, it was Dresden next.
Oxable was the second.
Oh, it
one.
was Oxable, yes.
And everything was fine there. Very peaceful. We did get somebody screaming on a recorder. A girl screaming something. We couldn't make it out. It sounded like she was in a cave, but could have been a tomb. Who knows? But as soon as we got to Dresden, as soon as I stepped over the chains, it hit real hard. I mean, I actually ended up in the ER that night. Just the energy flow. It was just unbelievable. And we've been back since. And
you
it's-
were fine.
And I picked up one of those obelisks that just throws words out, and I wasn't sure if I liked it. I wasn't sure if I'm putting anything into it. We took it to the one cemetery, and supposedly this cement building is a portal to hell. And when I
In the
walked,
cemetery?
yeah,
Right.
So when I
Like
walked,
a little private mausoleum or
yeah,
something?
and when I
It was
walked
like
up
the
to it,
caretaker's room.
yeah,
Oh.
it is now. But that's the rumor. And as I got close with that obelisk, it said portal, blaze. Okay, that could mean gateway to hell. Okay, I'm not. But when we got to Dresden and got out of the truck, I turned it on, and just as we got there, it said, remember. I'm like, yeah, I remember. Okay, shut this down.
Is every portal, though, necessarily a gateway to hell?
I don't think
I
so,
don't
but
think
that's
so.
the way
Gateway
they.
or
It's just a
something-
doorway.
That's what it was written up in the book.
Yeah.
And did I buy into that? No, I don't.
Oh, they wrote this up in their little tour book
It's
thing
yeah.
for
It's
the cemetery?
you can see
The
it
cemetery actually
online.
wrote this up in like in a little book.
Yeah.
thing,
There's
little
Oxable.
brochure.
Somebody wrote a book with just a bunch of haunted places in Illinois,
Illinois.
and they have a
Oh, I
cemetery
get one of them
listing,
type
and
of
that's
things,
what
okay.
that's what they
Yeah, okay.
claimed
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
So
There's supposedly 3 tunnels underneath this caretaker's ground, and one of them's a portal to hell. I don't know how in the world you'd figure that out.
This
But
is the second time I've heard about tunnels that I don't think exist. So yeah.
yeah, we went to that Lake County jail where Dillinger escaped,
Oh yeah.
and we went up to was that the 4th floor where they had the kids, where they housed the
He was
kids.
actually
like
pretty
that?
nice. We knew his mother. His mother used to bake cookies for us when we were kids. They were
Oh,
nice
yeah.
people. Yeah, right. I really knew this, didn't I?
We took a
Dillinger died in the 1930s. I wasn't born until 57. But see, I could get you
You
to
look
believe
good,
it.
yeah.
I got you to
sounded
believe
good.
it. You know, if you make up a story that sounds good enough, people will believe it.
That's
you know?
true.
That's why they make these stories up about these buildings with these tunnels and these haunts and all
Yes.
these things and that, and you know, people buy into it. And, and a lot of times too, if it's printed, if it's in print, it must be true.
Right.
And if it's on the internet, got to be true.
It has to be true,
If it's in the
especially.
Inquirer,
Gotta be
be
true.
true.
Well, we went up there, and they have kids' toys up there. So we're trying to get things to work. And I think Nancy suggested, why don't we put this rubber ball on the floor, draw a
Is this the
circle
one with the piano?
around it.
Where the toys
No,
are on
no,
the
no.
piano? Okay.
Put a circle around it, and we'll see if the ball moves. You know, we invited anything up here to move the ball. Well, we went back up an hour later, and the ball was outside the circle. So now we're thinking, okay, there's other people here. Maybe somebody walked by and kicked it. So we put the ball back in the circle and said, move it far enough. You know, you got to get it way out of the circle. And we went down to the next floor where we could see anybody going up. We didn't see anybody go up for that last half hour that we were there. Went upstairs, and the ball's all the way on the other side of the room. So that was interesting enough.
Okay.
That was interesting.
There's a step coming down on the first floor from the second floor to the first floor. If you step on it, it pops. It's a metal step. Bang. It bangs when you step
No
on it.
matter what, no matter how much you weigh,
Right.
it's really
So
loud.
we were the last group coming down. Like I said, we didn't see anybody else. We come down the stairs, and our last person, Rick, comes around, and as we go around to go into the office, we hear bang on that stair.
Ouch.
And he turned around and walked back, and there's nobody there. Okay. So, you know, little things like that.
Things that go bump in the night.
Yeah, you know, we didn't get it on recording, we didn't get it on video, but we all witnessed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always nice when you have someone else that can back you up on it, and then also
Right.
too if you've got the evidence. You know, you got it on the recorder or on the film.
Right,
or
and
whatever.
that's one of our steadfast rules that we agreed to. If we don't get it on
I gotta see
audio
the
or
spinning
video,
chair.
or two people didn't witness it, then it didn't happen. You know, if it's just one guy in a room says, "Hey, that thing flew across the well,"
It's not necessarily always the truth either. Sometimes one person does.
one
They
person
might.
can. Oh, sure,
But
sure.
if you have no proof, I mean,
Yeah.
we can't prove it. So.
But if we got two witnesses, that's pretty good. Oh, and we love to get stuff on audio, you know,
Oh, yeah.
on video. But you got to see the spinning chair. That's,
Yeah, I
I
want to see
brought
that
the
one.
hard drive. I didn't bring a computer, but I
No.
have the hard drive
I want
with
to see
me.
the spinning
No,
chair.
I'll bring it next time on a flash drive. We can put it.
Well, it's about 8:30. I think we're going to wrap.
okay.
Okay.
We'll still talk a little bit afterwards because I got some things I want to share with you guys. But yeah, okay. John, I guess we're going to wrap.
Don't forget
Thank
to look
you.
us up on Facebook.
Yes, please. Thank you all. Audrey Y. Zurich. Audra Y. Zurich. Nancy Booker.
Yes, sir.
And Ken Edmonds.
Thank you.
Thank you
you
all
very
for
much
coming
for
on.
having
Thank
us.
you so
Thank you very much for having
Thank
us.
you.
This
and
was
I
fun.
appreciate it. Thank you for coming out on such a bad travel night. And like I said, you guys came from far, so thank you.
Well, if we don't make it home, you'll see us again.
I will. Yeah. And everybody, too, thank you for all your prayers and everything for John Ryan. He's doing well, and soon we expect him to come back and start doing his shows again. Next month, what I'm trying to do with Paranormal Radio, I'm just kind of throwing this one out there, see what response we get to it. Certainly not an original idea, but something new for what I do here. I'd like to get a panel of folks like you folks that are somewhat into the paranormal, and then take calls and get people to call in with questions, and then we can have like a question and answer type thing. We'll see how that goes. I'm not really sure about what I'm going to do for the March show there. March 7th also too, I'll be over at the Justice Library, like I said, talking about phonies, frauds, and hoaxes in the paranormal, covering some of that stuff there, just to kind of clear that up and sort of leaving you to make your own mind up about what you believe to be the truth and not the truth. The whole truth, so help me God. And that will be the end of that. And thank you so much for listening to Paranormal Radio. Please don't forget to listen to the other shows here on the Windy City Network. Meet the Chicago Historians, the Dawn of Sports, Paranormal Radio, that's us, Chicago Junction, the Armchair Experts, and Wealth and Wisdom, as well as all the other music and everything else that John posts up there. Thank you so much, John, and thank you for allowing me to come into your studio in your home here and do these shows once a month. It's an absolute joy and a pleasure. Thank you, folks. Have a wonderful winter season. Stay safe, stay warm, and we'll see you all in March for the next show. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trzeciak from the John DeVito Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Monday, February the 11th, the year 2019. Paranormal Radio was directed by John DeVito, and a special thanks to the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Secondo. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Monday, February the 11th, the year 2019. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening.